Welcome to Ear Biscuits, the podcast where two lifelong friends talk about life for a long time. I'm Rhett.
And I'm Link. This week at the round table of dim lighting, we have finally gotten confirmation on whether our advice is good or not.
Did it work?
Should you be taking our advice?
Did it change someone's life? Maybe.
Maybe we'll find out today because I'm saying we finally did.
But let's start somewhere else, and that is in a place where
Yes?
someone asked a question on the TikTok about, she was like, I'm bored, share your deepest, darkest family secret. We're not gonna do that, but we were gonna look at some of the comments that were made on that post.
Why aren't we gonna share our deepest, darkest family secrets?
Yeah, we can.
Maybe we can.
We can. I don't have any great ones.
So what was the post?
The post was, I'm bored, share your deepest, darkest family secret.
I mean, what were the responses?
Oh, thanks.
You gonna read them?
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to tee you up, but I asked the wrong question.
You asked the wrong question. I answered the questions that I'm asked.
Can you read some of these comments?
Yeah.
Family secret. I'm trying to, do I have a deep, dark family secret? Inspire me with some of these random responses.
This one has a whole lot of likes, so it's at the top. My grandma never signed the divorce papers, so when my granddad died, she got all the money.
Oh. Even though they didn't live together, they were like totally separated.
Well, Grandpa
More than separated.
had a bad lawyer.
Yeah.
Or lawyer, as we used to say.
And we learned that both are acceptable.
Attorney.
Yeah.
Litigator. Little gator.
Lawyer.
I found a little gator in my
Lawyer.
backyard in Florida. Little gator.
That's pretty slick though. Yeah, if your ex-spouse got a bad lawyer, then take advantage of that. She got all the money. Wow. I guess we're on her side. We're assuming that other than that little shenanigan, she's worthy and a great person for it.
That was a good move. It was a good move by Grandma. Now I'm trying to think.
When you don't sign the papers, I mean, I see that in movies a lot. Where it's like, just sign the papers,
You see
Brad.
the non-signing of papers in movies?
Come on, I see how one party doesn't want to sign the papers. Come on, Brad, just sign the papers. I'm not signing the papers. I assume that there's a way to force a divorce without the papers being signed. I hope to never find out. I won't be on the receiving end of that.
It makes me think about the number of things that we sign now with like DocuSign.
Oh, you talking about Biden's auto pen?
I'm not gonna get into the auto pen thing.
What are you talking about?
I don't use auto pen. I use DocuSign. Is auto pen a general term for using DocuSign, or is it a different brand?
I think so.
I don't know. Who cares?
It's just I thought it just meant like a digital signature, which is what we do.
It probably is. What do you?
What's the point
do?
of that? It's like somebody emails you something, and then it's just like,
what's the point of it?
Open the mobile friendly version.
That's kind of what I'm getting at.
And then you sit there and you just hit this button. It's like sign, and it puts. It's not. And sometimes it's my actual signature.
Well, yeah. Do
but
you
then
do
sometimes
that? You can.
It's just the
select.
computer doing a signature of my name.
Well, you can select it. I always select that because.
But apparently it's acceptable.
If I use the finger to sign it, it looks like a 4-year-old has suddenly gotten some sort of legal authority.
At one point, I really went through the trub of getting my signature to look like my signature through that little, finger right thing.
And your bank makes...
And it's saved on DocuSign, so I
really?
can choose that. But it will always let me choose just the generic.
And it's not even cursive. It's like
fake cursive.
It's an italic font.
How is this legally binding? I'm glad it is, by the way.
I think that's what I'm getting at. And again, I'm not getting into the political debate over this because I know nothing about it. I've heard people talk about it. But I'm kind of getting at the point that it feels like we're getting to a place where the signatures are meaningless. Because
can't somebody forge that? I mean,
it seems too easy
to into DocuSign,
way too easy to hack.
I say my name is Rhett McLaughlin, and then all of a sudden here I am signing away.
Do you remember in the early days of Mythical, when it wasn't even Mythical, it was Rhett Link Inc. Even before that, Rhett Link Creations LLC.
Okay, I remember that.
I had a stamp of my signature made.
I still have it. If you ever need it.
Of my signature?
Yeah. I don't know why. It's in that drawer in there. You know, we got that
really?
filing cabinet in there.
It's still here.
I have needed that so many times.
Oh my
really?
God.
Yeah, there's some. I'm signing. I don't know. Sometimes I'm signing things in the real world. And
Rubber stamp.
I'm like, where's my stamp?
You should keep it on your keychain.
And how has my signature changed?
Put it on your belt loop.
It's gotten worse. I would sit when I was a child. Not a child. When I was not yet a man.
Okay.
I would sometimes sit and be like, why is my signature? I didn't have good handwriting. Why is my signature so bad? I want it to look like a person of some sort of import signed this, you know?
So that was important to you, yet I've seen your signature.
No, my signature is quality at this point.
It's an ink worm, dude.
Okay.
It's like a R.
But
It's like you fell asleep when signing the first letter of your name.
Well, first of all, if I sign something for fans, it's Rhett. Yeah, no, but you're missing the point. Josh.
Oh no, Rhett. I'm getting the point.
No.
Your
Josh,
handwriting is bad.
Not to throw Josh under the bus, but Josh has a bad signature. Okay, so what I'm saying is like so I have a very simple, like it doesn't, you have all the letters in your name. Some people make a choice to put all the letters in their name and a lot of people don't, but they have a thing that's like consistent and it looks like an adult did it. And then there's Josh and it kind of looks like he's still figuring it out. You know, and we do this so because we sign the Mythical cookbook sometimes, and there's we leave the big space for Josh. I mean, he wrote it.
Yeah.
We just presented it, and we do Rhett and Link under it.
Yeah.
And I'm just saying that if you look at those three signatures together,
he's the one that's hurting.
Yeah. So I don't think I don't have a bad signature is like when I get my kids to sign something.
I didn't say it was bad, did I? I just said it was an inkworm.
Yeah, and I'm very proud. I think what I'm trying to get at is there's different styles of signatures, right?
Oh, you're proud of it.
If you see it's easy. It's much faster than yours. If you see my signature, especially if I sign Rhett McLaughlin, right? There's the R and the squiggly thing, and then there's the M, the C, the L, and another squiggly thing. Like that's Rhett McLaughlin, right? Sometimes there's a J in there if I'm feeling especially important.
Okay.
But if I get my child to sign something, like I've gotten Locke and Shepard have had to sign, they had to like sign their passport, right?
Yeah.
You get a teen to sign something and they haven't thought about their signature, it's awful.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't
part of growing up.
Because I have naturally
knowing how to sign and having things to sign.
Bad handwriting. I didn't want to look like forever that a child signed this thing. And then there are people that I actually think that me and you may be in slightly different categories in that you write all four letters of your name and I write R, a hump for H, and then squiggy. I think we're actually almost in the same category because there's another category. There's child category down here and people can never sign without looking like a kid. Then there's people in the middle, which I think both of us are. And then there's people whose signature is a work of art and they have gone out of their way to make it look like something that can be tattooed on someone.
Yeah.
I know some people like that I've seen their signature. I'm like, wow, you spent a lot of time on that. I got to respect that. And I think about those people, to get back to my original point, I think about those people when I'm using DocuSign. Because I'm like, you have this beautiful signature that you spent all this time on that looks like something I want to get tattooed on one of my ass cheeks. And now your only choices are italic font
or
your finger. And I know you can't do with your finger what you perfected over many hours of practice.
It's the great equalizer, Rhett. DocuSign.
And what you're telling me is that DocuSign allows you to save a signature.
Apparently, because mine's in there.
I got to get my old stamp. I got to press that on some paper, and then I got to get a picture of that and import that into DocuSign? Okay, I'll do it.
We're reading another family secret. Good for you, Grandma.
My grandfather cheated a few times on my grandmother, and to make women feel sorry for him, he used to say his wife and kids burned in a house fire, and he was the only one who survived.
Oh. Are you horny?
Yeah, you got to give a woman some time to recover from that story.
Yeah, that's not like story time and then hop into bed.
I don't know. There might be some women who are into that kind of thing. You know, it's probably a
weeping
kink.
sex.
It's probably a kink. Listen, don't yuck that yum. Is that what you say?
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't yuck the yum of the woman who likes to hear somebody tell a tragic story before they screw. I don't know.
Especially if he's lying about it.
He's lying about it, yeah.
Don't yuck her yum if that's what she's into.
Yeah.
Total dirt bags.
This is not yet. Your grandfather's.
I bet his signature's dumb.
Your grandfather's not a good guy.
But he's results oriented.
You know, what does that make you think when you've got someone who is just a generation, 2 generations away from you genetically, who is capable of that kind of thing? You know, I don't think my grandfather that I wrote that song about married 7 times. It was literally true about my grandfather.
Hold on, you're talking about the second album song. What's the song called?
It's called.
You don't remember?
I don't know the names of my songs, man. I go in and I do my music and then I completely forget about it for months at a time. Small Man, that's it. And he was married 7 times, twice to my grandmother.
With how many in between?
Maybe 1.
7 times is a lot. 6 women is a lot.
And he was, the way that my dad would explain it to me is that he would marry, well, my dad would say, the lyric of the song is like, flew planes in the war, at least that's what he said. Couldn't really trust him, according to my dad. And then there was one time I remember he had a book about World War II, which at the time I would have called War II because I didn't understand that there was a difference.
You thought it was the word war twice?
I thought it was twice. War. I thought the wars that are so significant, you say it twice. War I, War II. It's a war so war-y.
That you got to wore it twice.
That everybody in the world was involved.
Who wore it better?
So in World War II, he said he flew planes, and we were at his house one time, which I only went to once, and then I saw him one more time after that. And he had this book, and it was like an encyclopedia. I think it was literally Britannica.
Okay.
And he opened it up to a section about World War II, and there was a plane just flying, like a picture of a plane flying. He was like, that's me flying that plane.
In the encyclopedia.
Yeah, and of course, I believed him. And then I went and told my dad, and he was like, yeah, that's not him. He's lying to you. We don't even really know if he did that.
Ouch.
We don't, he was in the military, but we don't know. And he was like a private pilot. He did have he would fly a little plane around. But
your dad, you only saw him twice in your life, is what you just said.
It may have been 3 times, but, because I think he may have.
Because one of those times was with me.
We went to Michigan, to where he lived, one time. He came to California when we lived out here when I was a kid. I think. Maybe it was North Carolina. I don't know. And then one more time was when he picked me and you up on the side of the road.
When we were hitchhiking, trying to get to your brother's wedding.
Yeah.
Or it was the day before the wedding. And we were walking from the hotel to the venue, and we could have walked, but then he saw us and pulled over and picked us up.
Yep.
I feel so special that one of the
Three
three
times
times
I
you
saw my
ever met your
grandfather.
granddad, it was, he might have thought you were me or I was you.
Yeah. Oh, he knew what I looked like. But
World War II, huh?
but
I mean,
when you think
how
you've
did it
got
make
somebody
you
like
feel
that related to you is what I'm getting at.
when your dad was telling you that he was just full of shit. I mean,
I don't remember.
caring.
You know what? You know how I mean, especially the way that I was. If my parents said it, it was true. And
Sure.
I'm not saying it wasn't true. I'm just saying that if my dad gave me a perspective on his dad, then that was the perspective that you were supposed to have on him. Now, one of the things I explore in the song is that once you get older and you start, first of all, I know beyond the shadow of a doubt that like my dad told me stuff that his dad did to him. And so I know that he was not a good dad. And he was also not really involved in his life beyond just getting my grandmother pregnant. But then you start learning that like people are really complicated, right? People are super complicated. And yes, he was a bad dude who did some bad things, but like what if I had gotten to know him, what else would I have learned about him? And what would I have found out about why he was like that? Not that it would justify it, but but you think to yourself, you've got, I don't know, do the math, 25%? I have 25% of his genes in me? Is that how it works? Grandfather?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, just think about that.
It's in you, man. The capability to.
Well, how does that make me feel? I'm asking
lie.
myself out loud.
Yeah, how does that make you feel?
I don't know. I've only been married once. Do I need to?
Did he die
do I need to
alone?
try again? Do I need to divorce Jesse, marry somebody else, and then marry Jesse again? To like follow in my grandfather's footsteps?
Let's say no to that.
Okay, I won't do it then.
Did he die alone?
He died in a ditch.
Okay. I guess what I'm asking is, was there anybody else in the ditch?
Nope.
What the hell? What you talking about? I think you told me this, but
It's in the song, bro.
well, you don't remember I won't feel bad about not remembering the details because you don't.
I
remember the name of the
I
song.
remember the lyrics of the songs.
How did he die in a
Found
ditch?
him in a ditch on the roadside. His body covered in snow. I can't remember. And then when my dad said, basically, my dad went alone to the funeral, said, there's no need for you to go. That's true. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So he was married at the time to a woman that I never met. I met one of his wives, other than my grandmother.
Okay.
And he was like walking on the side of the street, had a heart attack, fell into the ditch, and it snowed overnight. He was out there the whole night, and they couldn't find him, and then they found him in the morning. Yeah.
And your dad went to the funeral without you?
Mm-hmm. My dad went to the funeral without anyone. My mom didn't go. My brother didn't go. It was like,
and your dad doesn't have any
this.
siblings?
He has 2 half siblings. I think one he knew about, maybe one that was discovered
Well, yeah,
through
I mean,
23andMe.
Probably got some half.
I think he's got more. I think there's other ones out there.
But no full siblings, no aunts or uncles to
Nope.
you that on that side that you knew about.
No, everybody that I know on my dad's side is through his mom, Mama Nell. Like that whole family, all those people that were in Georgia and all, that's all Mama Nell's side of the family. So the McLaughlin side of the family.
Yeah. So Mama
nobody,
Nell.
I don't know nobody.
Mama Nell was married to this man twice.
Mm-hmm.
Mama Nell.
Mama Nell.
Was Mama Nell at the wedding?
Whose wedding?
Cole's wedding, the one where we met your granddad hitchhiking.
Surely, right? 'Cause
Right.
Cole got married
Might have been
late 90s.
98.
Yeah. I think that she had to be there, right?
Why was he there?
I
why
think because we
would-
got I think Indiana was close enough to Michigan for him to be like, I guess I'll drive down there. But North Carolina was too far away. He didn't come to my wedding.
No.
But there wasn't even discussion about whether or not he would, honestly.
Did he send you some sausages?
Probably.
That's what he was the one who would send the sausages?
Sausages and cheese, yeah.
For Christmas.
And it was good, man. See, as a boy, you think you're World War II hero grandfather who sends you sausage and cheese, you're like, this is pretty good. Why don't we hang out with him more? He's in an encyclopedia. He lives on a lake.
Uh-huh.
I want to go up in that plane with him.
This is a family secret, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, we got there.
You got there.
Surely you've got some weird stuff going on.
I think there's a lot of closeted gay people in my family.
Okay.
I mean, I think that counts.
Well, I said weird stuff. I don't want you to think, closeted gay, you're saying.
No, being gay is not weird.
Yeah.
Being closeted is not weird. But it provides for some weirdness. When you look back, like, okay, yeah. Even now, I'll think of certain relatives who are, dead and gone, and I'm like,
oh, they were gay.
I'm pretty sure, yeah. Oh, they were in the closet. Oh.
Which is very common where we come
and sad, right? So I think there was like hushed tones, not knowing how to speak about certain family members.
Oh.
Well, she has a friend.
Oh, it would go that far. That's not too closeted.
Sometimes they'll be like, well, but that's what it was. Just, okay, you got a friend. Sad. A shame, really. But I think that's like what my family chose. And I'm talking like generations. It's like, I don't think it's the case now. Like now we would speak openly about it, but it's not like a problem at this point.
I mean, I tried to do the Ancestry.com thing at one point. And I got back, on both sides, I got back really to like the early 1800s. And then it was basically people who it was just like poor farmers who didn't have good records. And so there was no like,
not in Scotland.
No, I didn't make it to Scotland or Ireland. Ireland probably
which is where you needed to have made it.
But I did, and I don't even think I have my account anymore, but on somebody's side. So what you'll do on these services is you'll tap into a family tree that somebody else has done work on, right?
Okay.
That's how it works. It's like if you get to, because you get to a person and then that person has all these branches, and if somebody's great-great-granddaughter has gotten into this.
Yeah.
And occasionally there'll be like a really old picture of the person. And there was one guy, I can't remember what side of the family it was, that was a Confederate soldier. Which that happens all the time when you're watching like that show.
Who was I?
Who Am I? Whatever the name of the show, whatever that is. Can't remember the guy who hosts that.
Yeah.
But people will find like, oh.
They do a good job on that show, man.
I bet you those people could really figure it out for me and maybe get back to the home country. But but you get back and you see this guy that fought for the Confederacy, which again, like anyone who was of age who lived in that state fought for the Confederacy.
Right.
Most likely. It wasn't like they had a choice. But yeah, you're like, okay, I think the thing that would be difficult is if somebody has, like if you're immediate, like your parent, that's 50% contributed 50% of your genes, like you found out that they were something that you didn't, or that they are something that they're bad in some way,
or like the inventor of the vacuum.
Right. Well, sometimes it can be a good thing.
It could be something cool.
Sometimes it can be a good thing.
Do you want to read another one? Or you want to move on?
I like this.
Okay. Deepest family secrets.
The man my great-grandma was originally married to went off to war. I wonder if it was World War I or II. He came back to find a man, my great-granddad, had taken his wife and his identity. Not sure what happened to the original guy.
He came back and someone was like using his name and everything, using his DocuSign.
Do you think that your great grandma knew? Or he's like, the war changed me,
I'm back for the
baby.
war early.
The war changed my face and my voice and my body.
but not my name.
That's right. Because she had to be okay with this. I think maybe, you know what?
Yeah, how does that
I
work?
think the times were different back then. I think you send your man off to war and you're like, I don't know. And then the guy comes back and he's like, can I? And she's like, well, yeah. I don't know if he's coming back.
Well, I got a husband in the war. His name's Jeff. Well, just call me Jeff. If that makes it easier for you.
I doubt it was a Jeff. Jeff feels like a name that happened in like no earlier than 1970.
Gilbert.
I mean, Jeffrey, yeah, but Jeff?
All right. Gilbert.
Yeah, Gilbert. Okay.
Call me Gilbert if that makes you feel more comfortable. It suits me nicely, I think.
My nan had an older sister with exactly the same given name as her. Her older sister had been put in an asylum due to various medical conditions, and she only found out about her in her late 70s. So your parents did a do-over. I mean, your grandparents, your great-grandparents did a do-over.
It's like when what's it called when you write over a file? That's what they did.
That is very sad.
They wrote over the kid file. It's like, you know what, let's just call the next one the same thing. None the wiser. Gilbert.
People do that.
Let's name her Gilbert.
People do that with dogs. You know, but you can't do that with kids.
I mean.
There are people who have dogs and they just keep naming them the same thing. There's also the people
Really though?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
What?
And they call him like, it would be like Sean 2, but you just keep calling him Sean. Sean 3, and it's not clones. Several people I have seen have done this.
Hold on. How do I feel about this?
You name the dog the same thing. Now, usually it's when you're the kind of people who are committed to a certain breed of dog. Not cloning, but just like, we only have Dachshunds. We only have Dobermans, whatever.
But, I mean, they're individual dogs.
I'm not saying I'm an advocate for this. I'm just saying, think about how bad it is to do it for kids.
It's like you have a slot, you have a pet slot in your life, and whatever pet's in it, it assumes the name Gus.
Well, it's a way to not get confused.
What?
I call my kids each other's, you know what? I call my kids each other's names a lot.
Oh, well, I do
Maybe
that.
if I had both just named them the same thing.
Well, I think you're going to run into other problems, like differentiating between them.
I already knew this about Jimmy Fallon, but he was on that Diary of a CEO podcast, and he told this story. His parents were Jim and Gloria, and Jimmy has a sister, and her name is Gloria. So it would be like me and Jesse having a daughter and a son and naming them Rhett and Jesse. That's what Jimmy Fallon's parents did.
Yeah, I mean, but I bet they called him Little Jimmy.
Well, probably, but what?
Because by the way, me and my dad have the same name. And it's also my granddad's name and my son's name.
Yeah, I can see you get a little defensive.
But we are called different things. Yeah. And I was called Little Link in Lincoln's presence, but my granddad.
What if you had named Lily Christie? You wouldn't have done that.
That would have been strange, yeah.
It's usually done on the man side
Christie
because
Jr.?
you're basically you have the whole name is the same.
Yeah.
To do it for the woman,
right.
It's just, it raises questions.
Well, I think women might be getting short shrift here. I mean, Jenna, do women need to be able to junior or the third?
Yeah, we don't, well, we never get to keep our surnames traditionally, so yeah.
But what about,
let's talk about that.
And that's good.
In this society.
Y'all don't need that.
Let's
but
talk
I'm saying,
about
don't you want, I'm not going to give you your own last name, but I'm going to give you a junior.
Since things go through the patrilineal side instead of the matrilineal side.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that because, let's talk about that. The hyphenated thing was happening for a while. My theory,
Hyphenations don't happen as much.
My theory is that the hyphenations happened, and then people started figuring out that, oh wow, okay, two kids with hyphenated names get together, what happens? Are we inventing names at that point? Are we picking the one that sounds the best? What are we doing? Are we taking one of each? And then like, what's the point of the whole process, right? I'm not saying I have a solution. I'm just saying that's a problem.
Yeah, I think the solution is completely new last name. If you're gonna hyphenate,
You're saying
just invent a new last
in
name.
a double hyphenated situation?
No, in a single hyphenate. If that's what you want to do, then both of you go to neutral new last name.
That's gonna make Ancestry.com really hard to keep up with.
Well,
So you want to do it for the Ancestry.com instead of doing it for the gram? Is
I'm
that
an
what you're thinking?
investor. No.
I was joking about everything, Jenna, but do you want to be a junior or do you want some man to take your last name one day?
well, I like my last name. I'm not getting rid of it. So that'll be for whatever my partner decides.
But do you? I think that each person.
If I were to get married,
each person keeping their last name is better than hyphenating.
I don't care. I don't have an opinion. I don't have an opinion.
She don't care about what you're saying.
But
no, I just don't have I don't have an opinion if people hyphenate or not. I'm like, yeah, do whatever you like. I do think the idea of combining could be fun.
right,
Like combining two names, that could be fun. But I mean, I'm named after my grandmothers, so I don't necessarily have a junior, but I'm honoring their memories by carrying their names. Like my given name isn't really Jenna, so that's my nickname.
Okay, and of course we know your real name.
You can say it.
oh, what Jenna's short for?
Yeah.
Virginia.
Virginia.
There we are. And you know my middle name because it's Lily's middle name.
He doesn't know his daughter's middle name.
Yes, he does. Come on.
Grace, huh?
There you are.
Grace is it,
There
huh?
you are.
He had to open the file up.
Your middle name is Grace. Mm-hmm.
When my wife named her business, she named it her maiden name. She's not Jessie McLaughlin Interiors, she's Jessie Lane Interiors. And I like that because I think that it, first of all, there's the idea that people could say, oh, well, you are using your husband's, influence or whatever. And I like the idea that it's just like, no, that is her thing that stands on its own.
I do remember advising her to go with Rhett's wife's interior design.
Right. We talked about it for a while. It rolls off the tongue.
I think it would have helped her. By this point, I can tell she's regretting it a little bit. Not riding the coattails.
But how are we gonna is it the kind of thing where, this is happening right now where there's a hyphenating that's happening. There's probably some new name stuff that's happening.
There's hyphenate hookups happening.
But then there are some couples where the woman, she's given her last name. The man is taking the last name. That's happening as well.
I guess it's happening.
Yeah, that's happening.
Yeah. If it's a cooler last name.
Yeah, I think it
come
depends on whose sounds better.
Who wouldn't want to marry me and
But
become
also
a
if there's
Purdy?
baggage.
Purdy
If you
is
have,
a fantastic last
If you
name.
have a lot of these deep secrets,
That's true.
you want to shed that a little bit.
That is true.
But the combining is something. Like Christy's maiden name is White. Her last name is White.
Mm-hmm.
And of course mine is Neil. So you combine those together and you got Wheel.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would have been
Yeah.
good.
The wheels are here.
Link Wheel. What? Hold on. What? I thought your name was Neil.
Yeah,
I changed it when I got married. I
Yeah.
took the first two letters of my wife's name and got rid of the end.
I think the reason that most people are just like, listen, I understand that
Christy Wheel.
this comes from like a patriarchal society or whatever, but there are arguments for continuing the practice for simplicity. It isn't like, oh, this means that this person's more powerful or whatever. It just means that if you don't do that, you have to, and you're trying to invent a last name, then all of a sudden you're like, Wheel. And then if you do the opposite and you're like, okay, well, the traditional thing is to take the man's last name. In our family, we have the woman's last name. Then, you might not want to have to deal with the conversations that you have to have because of that. And, I mean, not that you should care about what people think, but sometimes you make a choice to avoid scrutiny. And I think sometimes that's a valid thing.
Just to make life easier.
It's just like, yeah, okay. We did, like, we're very much not traditional people, but we did the traditional thing because it's tradition.
And you see, this is where the patriarchy comes back to bite you. Because it's momentum. If nothing else, it's just momentum.
But there is something to be said for when you get together with everyone that you're related to and you all have the same name. There's the family name. Like when you go to the so-and-so, which family reunion did you go to?
The Buchanan family reunion.
You go to the Buchanan. Now you're not a Buchanan because somehow you lost it. It's, along the way.
Yes.
Because that's how it works. But you go to the Buchanan family reunion. If we start making up names every generation,
right?
You can't do the family reunion anymore. No,
you cannot do it.
And then if you hyphenate, and then the hyphenates become hyphenated, and we've got 4, and then we've got 8. Then we can't even make a card that invites people to the family reunion.
I think with every
the T-shirt's going to just be text.
Yeah, double hyphenate marriages. I think you're cherry picking one from each.
I think we have to switch it.
You're making a new
by law for the women's name. I think the only way to move forward
is matriarchy.
I think we have to have the man take the woman's name, and we have to make it a law. And I'm running for president, and
I bet you that
technically, just to clarify, that's not matriarchy. That's matrilineal. Matriarchy is women just controlling.
I'm for that too.
Oh
yeah,
absolutely. We're talking about going all the way.
Yeah, I'm for that.
Oh, perfect. Let's go all the way. Matrilineal
I'm a male.
Is when the line continues through the women.
Yeah, I'm a man president, and my platform is matriarchy.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. I love that.
Hawaiian people.
There's quite a lot of peoples prior to the traditional patriarchal religions of today that followed the matrilineal lines.
Mm-hmm.
We should try that for a little bit.
Gotta say, it's fun. I mean, that's how I treat my family. I refer to my grandmother. My grandmother runs the show. She's the matriarch. If I could change, if we could have gone back and made everything under her line, sure. I mean, Miller isn't as cool as Purdy, but every time I talk about my aunts and my grandmothers and my cousins, it's always, those Miller women. We got the Miller women, and because it goes, we always bring it back to my grandmother.
Yep.
And her maiden name.
Yeah, that's how it is with my Nana. Mm-hmm. She's the Buchanan. I mean, there was a good Neil reunion there for a while, but the Buchanan stayed stronger. I don't know, just disseminate.
We had the Cole family reunion. That's where my brother gets his name. And I mean, it was in Georgia, so I haven't been in forever, and I don't know if they even do it anymore.
I think it's interesting. I feel like a lot of times the women's side of the family, you end up being closer with, like the mother's side. Like I'm closer to my mother's side. True. All my family is closer to their mother's side. I'm trying to not let that happen with my brother and my sister-in-law. I mean, I love my sister-in-law's side of the family. They're amazing, but I mean, come on. I'm pretty cool.
Yep.
I'm trying to be like, hey, niece and nephews.
Yeah, and I think that is because on average, men tend to be a little bit worse at like staying connected. Mm-hmm.
Which I think has roots in the matrilineal societies of old. That you tend to, because the women were the community building.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We should just embrace it. Okay.
I think we should.
Give me another family secret, though. I'm like
I do have a family secret that I can share.
Oh, well, go for it.
Okay.
Is this a Miller family secret or a Purdy?
It is. It is a Miller family secret. My aunt's, not my aunt's, my grandmother's sister, Edie, my great aunt Edie, I carry a bit of her spirit in me. She traveled all over. She was a Rosie the Riveter. She had Mardi Gras beads from New Orleans. She lived in Vegas for years and had some showgirl stuff.
Oh, damn.
Really cool woman. She passed away maybe 9 years ago now, I want to say. Like a year after she passed, we get someone reaching out to us, and it is her son that we did not know existed, that she had with a married man when she was in like her 20s or 30s, gave him up for adoption, no idea he existed, and he found us. And it was wild.
What did you meet him in person?
I didn't get a chance to because I was living out here, but I FaceTimed with them because they live in Florida, and him and his wife and his daughter flew to Tennessee to meet my grandmother because my Aunt Edie and my grandmother lived together in the last like 8 years or so of my great aunt's life before she passed. So they went up there to meet my grandmother, and then like my other family members, my aunt and uncles came over and everything, and we FaceTimed with them. And he had the same laugh as my Aunt Edie. Like the same laugh, the same kind of smile. His daughter, spitting image of every single one of the women in my family. It's uncanny. So that was a crazy secret we found out.
Was that a 23andMe thing?
Yeah, it was a 23andMe thing, and we loved it. He was so nice. He was in the Air Force for years. His father, didn't want anything. He had passed apparently also, but didn't want, like, his family didn't want anything to do with it because he was a illegitimate child. Anyway.
Yeah, because I'm wondering what's the motivation there to reach out and reconnect. I guess it's if you want a better family than the one that you had.
He wanted to know who his real parents were. Like, he was adopted and had that family, but he wanted to find his real parents and dug in.
He never knew.
Yeah,
he
you want
never
to know
knew.
who your real parents
So
are.
I understand that.
And then we didn't know that my Aunt Edna had ever had children. She had never had children. She'd only like married and had some stepkids. So we were like, what? She's got a son? And
It's crazy.
And she was
the
in no way in
number of
touch.
people, the number of people who've had these things
yeah.
revealed, and now the 23andMe thing that's happening, where you're supposed to delete your data. Have you deleted your data?
Why?
Oh, you don't know?
What?
Okay. We talked
Bro,
about it.
there's
We'll talk about it
multiple
later.
emails. You got to get back on your laptop. You're missing too many important things.
And then I need to delete my data?
I think I already made you do this.
Okay.
I think I already made you do this a year ago because I was already suspicious back
If he
then.
didn't know, he didn't.
Did
do
you
it.
see me do it, or did I tell
He
you
didn't
to
do
do
it
it?
because it was
We'll take a
multiple
look.
steps.
We'll take a look.
Because they filed for bankruptcy and they are going to be bought by someone else, and theoretically you can't trust whatever person is going to buy them, and then your dad. The thing is that through the show, through Good Mythical Morning, you and I have submitted our DNA to at least 4 different things for all kinds of testing. I mean, my DNA, you can make me at this point if you had the technology. So I'm not that worried about it, but yeah, you're supposed to delete it and you can download it. So I have like my raw data on my computer now, but I deleted it and got rid of my account. Oh. But it's interesting that the window of time in which a really high percentage of people in the world did 23andMe, and an alarming percentage of people found out all these crazy family secrets. And now they're kind of moving away from that with the what's happening with 23andMe. It could be this like window of time in which all these people got reconnected. I mean, I didn't have anything revealed about my family that I didn't know. But the thing that happened is you get all these people who contact you. Like third cousins, lots of third cousins. You have another third cousin.
I was never interested in that.
And I'm like, I can't even keep up with my friendships. I don't need third cousin level contacts at this point.
Yeah.
But your parents, your third cousin might as well be anyone on earth, in my estimation. But your parents, your real parents.
It's good to know.
I just think, and now some people are like, I don't care. I got adopted. I don't really want to know. But I just think that your genes are just such a big part of who you are that I don't know. I don't know. I mean, some people don't want to know, and that's fine.
Is there another secret?
Yeah.
Jenna, thanks for sharing your secret.
Yeah. That's the only one I can share.
But you have more.
Maybe another time I'll share the other things. Oh boy, do I. This is my family.
Well, my mother casually dropped into conversation that I was briefly kidnapped as a child. She had to run out of a museum, down the steps, across the road, and onto a bus before it pulled away. Wrest me from, I like that word, wrest, with a W. Wrest me from the couple that were trying to quietly abduct me while my parents were distracted by my upset baby brother in the museum. I wasn't visible, she says, and something just told her, go outside. That's where she saw me in the distance being led onto the bus.
What?
My family are Christians, and I thank God I wasn't taken.
Gee, whew.
Wow, almost kidnapped, and then God intervened. I'm just sticking with the story.
I mean, if you steal somebody's baby, how do you legitimize that?
Oh, people can easily legitimize that.
Like, how do you like?
What do you mean, to yourself or to others? What do you mean?
Like
Happens all the time.
then what do you do once you steal a baby? What do I do next? Do I take it to the DMV? I mean, I don't. Do I get what do you do?
It would be harder to do
What do you
these
do?
days.
What do you do after you steal a baby?
Back in the day, it probably just like you just
Start calling it Jeff and
go from there. But you gotta birth certificates and all that stuff. That's gonna be tough. I'm not planning on doing it.
hold on to your kids out there, y'all.
It's the kind of thing that you hear about, but you never really believe is possible.
Yeah, you think they're lying?
No, I don't believe that. I don't think they're lying. I'm just saying
don't think
that,
they're lying.
of course, it happens.
We got to move on because we need to talk about whether our advice is worth taking. We haven't given any advice today, and we've done some conjecture on, matrilineal systems.
Yeah.
But we've given no life advice because we don't know yet if we should keep doing that. Let's hear a voicemail.
Hey, Rhett Link. This is Caitlin from Texas. I just wanted to say thank y'all for responding to my question about needing advice for my mother's possible gambling addiction. I took y'all's advice, and I'm just going to stay out of my mama's business, like Link said. Really, it's not her money that she's gambling on, so I don't honestly see a problem with it other than maybe she's taking advantage of her friend. But that's for her and her friend to decide. I am not the police, and I'm not her parent.
That's right.
Thank y'all for giving me that advice. It's actually given me a peace of mind about it. But I'm calling again because...
Pause it. You're welcome. You're welcome. I think this is a green light.
Did you ever doubt
Not really.
that our advice was applicable?
Not really. Did I demand to be thanked in a voicemail?
No, but
No.
we subliminally
But I'm glad to get it.
sent that message that we were
And
looking for this.
And you know what? It's opened up a world of ease for her.
Peace of mind, I hear.
Peace of mind?
You know
Yes.
what? You can't put a price on peace of mind.
We give you a piece of our mind and it gives you peace of mind.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Is that the new paradigm of ear biscuits? Pieces of our mind give you peace
No,
of mind.
because then we have to say something different at the top, and then
Yeah.
you'll have a difficult time with that.
But I assume that this experience that she's had, a positive one, taking our advice, which is given peace of mind, is something that is applicable across the board. 100% of the time, I think it's safe to assume that has happened based on this one voicemail.
Yeah.
So we've given the big green light.
This
to
is
move
what you
forward.
call data sampling. You don't have time to go and look at every single result. You just put a couple or maybe one onto a graph, and then you plot your trajectory.
Yes.
And that's what we've done. I do think because you called in and gave us this update, you do deserve to ask the question that you seem like you were about to ask, so we'll let you do that.
Okay, yes.
I have another question for y'all if you're willing to answer it. I watch GMM a lot. It's one of my comfort shows, and I was just wondering what were your comfort shows or comfort music or just anything that comforts you. Y'all help me feel less lonely sometimes, so I appreciate that. And, yeah, what brings you comfort? And, yeah, hope y'all have a great day. Love y'all. Bye.
We're always glad to hear that our content is comforting. It's just something to snuggle up and just be at ease with. You can put it on in the background. You can watch episodes that you've watched a million times, and it just makes you feel like the stakes are low.
You know, for me, there are two maybe revelations that have occurred. The first was the revelation that our show and our shows were comfort content. And I think the reason that wasn't on my radar is because that's not or wasn't traditionally a thing in my own life. Like I haven't ever, unless I have things that I like, genres that I like, types of books that I like, subjects that I like to go back to. But in terms of a fully packaged show or movie, or I don't go back to this, I have traditionally not gone back to the same things. So the first, and that was finding out that people enjoyed what we did as this comfort content, understanding that was a concept, that was initially a difficult thing for me to accept.
Okay.
Because it framed what we do in a way that wasn't consistent with my intentions. Can I elaborate on that?
Yes, you're saying not because the intention when we make something is not for it to be so passive, like, but it's not, comfort doesn't mean background, so maybe that's not what you're saying.
No, I mean that, especially before GMM, and I mean, GMM's been around for a long time, but like in the early days of GMM, we were like, okay, this makes sense as a way to connect with people, not knowing where our careers were going to go and not knowing how important that lifeline to people who actually knew who we were and what we were doing and cared about what we were doing. Like that was the initial reason that we did it.
Yeah. And
I think it did accomplish that. But then when we began to hear that, oh, I actually depend on this as like I am a person who watches this as it's my daily routine. Now and the crazy thing is, I don't know why I didn't see this, because we talked about in the first episode of Good Mythical Morning, we hope that you make this a part of your daily routine. But I was thinking about like habitual viewership, but because I didn't have a point of reference for comfort content in my own life,
right,
I never anticipated it. And then I just think there's something that happens when you're like, oh, I didn't make this to make you comfortable. You know, as stupid as that sounds, but I fully embrace it now that I understand it. Now I understand what people are saying when they say that. They're not saying that I don't pay attention to it, even though I'm sure there's people who are like, I just put it on the background, which is fine. You know, there's no reason to like.
Yeah, it's more of the
stay focused
consistency.
On it all the time.
It's every day at the same time, and it's a similar format. It's the same experience, but different specifics every single day.
Yeah. But the other side of the coin was I never go and read a book again. I never watch a movie again. I never watch reruns or anything.
See, I'm with you on this, and I'm relating.
That's changing for me.
So before you get to the changing, I'm relating to this. I didn't see Good Mythical Morning in that way because, I mean, when I was growing up, my only experience in comfort viewing was when I'd wake up every morning and I'd watch the Jetsons.
Every morning, not just Saturday?
Every morning.
It was a weekday thing.
Every morning it came on at such a time that I would wake up and almost go back to sleep on the couch.
During the summer or during the year?
No, before I went to school. I would get up.
What kind of time did you have?
And I would get up with enough time to I had a sleeping bag. And I would get something to eat. I think maybe a bowl of cereal or something. And then I would get in my sleeping bag and I would watch the Jetsons every morning. We're talking like grade school into middle school.
So you had a bed. You wouldn't get back into the bed. You would
No.
get into a sleeping bag.
in the living room.
In the living
In the living room. And I would prop up and I'd eat my cereal, and then sometimes I'd like fall back asleep a little bit. And I knew when the Jetsons ended, I had to get up and I had to do my stuff.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been allowed to do that. If my dad caught me before school in a sleeping bag watching TV, he'd be like, nope. It doesn't matter what time it was. It's like, nope, we're not starting that. would have never happened. Would have never taken place.
But for no good reason. I mean,
Other than just like, you let a kid get in a sleeping bag and eat his breakfast, watch cartoons before school. What the hell next is he gonna do? You know, that's what my dad would have said.
probably not go to school.
Yeah, right.
Probably be a loser.
Right, yeah.
But I proved them all wrong.
You proved him wrong.
Because my mom understood that I needed that comfort connection every morning to slowly wake up in my own world.
Oh, I slowly woke up, but just in time to get my ass out the door most of the time.
You wouldn't get out of bed.
Mm-mm.
You're like our kids now. You
Oh,
have to
yeah.
keep telling.
Yeah.
No, I would always get out of bed because I wanted to see the Jetsons, man.
Yeah.
You need something like the Jetsons to get you out of bed in the morning.
George Jetson ain't gonna get me out of bed.
And that's what's, I mean, that theme song, that was great. Meet George Jetson.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the show, but not every day.
Daughter Judy, she was hot. Jane, his wife. Now I'm finding her hot.
Yeah.
Judy used to be the one for me. Now it's Jane.
What about the robot? Rosie.
Rosie too,
I
man.
find Rosie a little bit hot.
Astro.
She was thick with 2 C's.
I'll tell you, Rosie had more Astro than Astro. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm saying? That was, my comfort viewing was the Jetsons. And then after that, I haven't really had any comfort viewing. I don't rewatch movies either. If Christy gets on a plane, she's afraid of planes, so she needs to be comforted. She watches the Pitch Perfect movies.
Oh, really?
Pitch Perfect. That's her comfort viewing. Do my kids have any comfort viewing? I think when the kids reached a certain age, they started watching The Office and then Parks and Rec. And then the younger kids, when they got a little older, they would do it. So they fought it. All three of them went through the wave at a different time. But as the younger kids went through it, I would notice that the older kids would still pop in and sit down and be, I think, comforted by the nostalgia of, because you can, you know, oh, this is season 3, episode 8. I remember this one. You know, and it feels good. I do understand for some sort of comedy to be able to step back into it.
It's actually a bit fascinating.
There's no stakes.
That this isn't a part of your, like, you're a collector of things.
Right.
You're a creature of habit. I'm actually surprised you don't have this. I am beginning to have it.
I must have it with music, but that's hard to pin down. What do you have it for now?
Well, first of all, music, songs are like, who listens to a song and is like, I don't want to listen to that song again.
I think
Everybody
in order for it to
listens
be
to
a
the same
comfort
songs.
music, it has to be like, I go back to this album. And I do have a few of those, but I just don't really think of it that way. It's just more of a mood thing than like, I always put this record on and it puts me in a good mood, or it loosens me up or relaxes me. I don't actually have that very specifically. What are you doing now?
Well, I mean, this is developing. This is not like one of the things that I'm doing is, if Jesse and I are going to watch a movie at home, a lot of times I will choose a movie that I have seen and I know is good that she hasn't seen.
Okay.
Which that was, I always was like, I don't eat at the same restaurant twice. I don't watch the same movie twice. I don't read the same book twice, because there's so much shit out there that I want to enjoy. And I don't want to miss out on what might be better, right? But then as you start getting older, you realize, yeah, but there are some things that I know I will enjoy. And why don't I just do that? Because I'm guaranteed to have a good time. I don't know, and there's such like a switch flipped in the past few years for me. I was like, oh, we can go back to the same restaurant. I can watch, especially comedies. I don't watch anything but comedies again. I can watch this comedy that I enjoyed, and I might just sit and watch,
30 minutes.
Well, no, and I also might do it by myself. I might be like, I'm going to watch The Big Lebowski by myself because I know it so well now, and you start seeing new things or whatever. And on the plane, a lot of times, because on Delta, which is my favorite airline, they've got The Office. They've got a few seasons of The Office at any given time, and that's just always going to be funny.
Always easy to jump back into.
They also have Curb Your Enthusiasm, which I also enjoy in a different way from The Office. There's a different kind of comfort watching. Mostly Curb Your Enthusiasm, I'm seeing episodes that I've never seen before, though, because I still haven't seen all of those. But it's kind of like predictable. It's like this is going to be predictably the same thing every time, and I know the kind of situations that Larry David's going to get himself into, and I'm just going to watch that unfold. Versus, let me go to the new releases and see if there's something that I feel like I should have seen. So you end up watching things out of this sense of obligation of, well, that movie, a lot of people said that movie was good and that's a new one. I kind of feel like I should watch that. It's like, well, no, do you want to watch it? That has begun to enter the equation a little bit more. But I will say
I think my comfort viewing is the back of my eyelids.
Naps.
That's my comfort viewing. Darkness.
Yeah, I'm not
so comfortable. So comfortable.
If I could nap, I would nap. I'm jealous. But the thing that's been
I'd much rather nap than watch a movie.
Hitting me lately. Well, sometimes movies will make you nap. Is I go back and read that. I do. I am reading a book again for the second time. I'm reading 2 books right now. Well, I'm reading more than that, but I'm reading 2 books for the second time right now.
Charlotte's Web and...
Yep. I am reading A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle, which is great. And I'm reading...
Creativity.
The Creative Act. The Creative Act?
Yes.
By Rick Rubin.
A little dry.
And, wow. And
needs more cats.
I think it's like soul nurturing for a creative person. Like it is just, the Eckhart Tolle is like it feels like, this is going to be sacrilegious if you think the Bible is God's word. And I've read the Bible a lot, so I kind of been there, done that. But it's like it provides things for me that the Bible never did. So I like to kind of go back to that in the way that he kind of puts things.
Like what? What do you mean?
Eckhart Tolle.
No, what do you mean by that? Like what things does it provide?
Just like practical wisdom.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying the Bible doesn't have practical wisdom in it. I'm just saying I've read it before and kind of spent the majority of my life in it. And so I'm kind of elsewhere at this point, but the creative act is just like I want to just keep stopping it and writing. Like I have to keep stopping it, and I'm like, because this is just passing over me. But one of the things he talks about is what you consume, basically, and like. Because as an artist, you are somebody, or you're an aspiring artist. I don't want to be pretentious and call myself an artist. I am aspiring to be an artist. And what you take in impacts what you put out, right? And so the idea of all of the shit that I can put into my brain, which could just be an endless supply of reality television and short form social media videos and news. And if that's the only input, in my estimation, that's like putting something that's not actual gasoline into your car that runs on gas, right? It's not gonna work right. You're definitely, the thing that you're gonna make with that raw material is not gonna be any better than any of that shit that you just put in there, right? But if you put things in the engine that are aspirational, like the best things that have ever been made, and you don't have to do this all the time, but like the best movies that have ever been made, the best TV that's ever been made, the best music that's ever been made. His point is if you're bringing those great timeless works into you, then the raw material that's coming into you that then you end up creating on your own is going to be that much better. And so this is working a little bit against the comfort viewing thing, because then I want to go and be like, okay, what are all the things that I've missed? What are all the great movies that I've never watched? Right? Then I'm like, this is a objectively great movie because enough people subjectively think that it's good, so it must be objectively good. And so I find myself in that place right now, like wanting to line those up and like sit down with Shepard and watch these things and be like, let's watch the best movies that have ever been made, Shepard, the ones that we haven't seen. Okay.
I do think that that's different than comfort viewing, which is like, I've watched this 20 times.
It's precisely what I'm saying. I'm saying it's a completely different exercise, because the comfort viewing is not about something going into you so then you can then create something. It's about you being comforted.
Yeah. So what you're saying, it doesn't sound like you're about to get that. Unless you're going to read.
I'm saying I have to, that's the choice that I've
creative act, unless you're going to read it like for the 20th time. Just because the words wash over you in a proverbial way, and it makes you feel okay.
Yeah, I don't listen to the creative act out of comfort. And I don't listen to New Earth out of comfort. It's just more like, I need this information. Like, I need this information in my brain in order to function as a human in this society. You know?
So what do you do for comfort?
I already told you.
What do I do for comfort?
I already told you. I'm saying
I just don't think.
I watch movies that I know are going to be funny. I watch sitcoms that I know are going to be funny. In terms of media, that's what I do. Musically, I listen to instrumental jazz made from people in the Scandinavian part of the world.
Okay.
Like that's typically like Brimmer McCoy. That's Brimmer McCoy radio. And whatever comes down that line is going to make me feel good.
Okay.
That brings me comfort.
Okay.
And like now that Locke is home, the music that my kids, I have a lot of crossover with them, but then there are these places that we depart, and it'll be like 7:30 in the morning, and they'll be playing some. It's just great. It's just so loud.
Like house
and
music?
I feel like such a dad. I'm like,
That's
nope.
what Lincoln is doing. Lincoln came home and now he's just like,
It's not house. They don't.
all with the goon ticka doon ticka doons.
No, they're not playing house. They're playing like. It's whatever dubstep became. Do you know what I'm saying?
I get not
EDM?
Yeah, it's EDM-ish, but it's got some. There's some melody that happens.
Like drum and bass, but like just not like instrumental drum and bass.
It's like
It's like
electrical sounds.
It's like
that are
EDM
happening.
trap music is kind of what dubstep.
Yeah, and it just feels like the kind of music that if you had accidentally or purposely killed someone and you needed to saw up their body and put it in a suitcase, it's the kind of music that you would listen to while you needed to saw up a human body. Wow. That's the kind of music that you
comfort sawing.
And it's like, I just want to have breakfast, guys. Let's put on some Scandinavian jazz. So I can eat my poached eggs. Yeah.
Dear listener, I hope that you have squeezed some comfort out of our conversation today. We wish you the most comfortable vibes that we can conjure, and we're sending them to you now. And maybe this episode will be the one that you go back to 20 times, 40 times, 100 times, or like Rhett's estranged grandfather, seven times. Don't forget to call us.
He's not estranged, he's dead.
1-888.
The ultimate estrangement.
EarPod 1 is how you can call us. And that will bring some sort of quiet comfort to us to hear your voice on a voicemail.
Oh, comforts me.
And we should remind you that next week we're taking a break. So we're taking one week off from Ear Biscuits, the week of July 7th, 2025. But we'll be back for summer episodes the following week. So
In our summer episodes, we're doing the minis. Is that happening?
Yes, it's mini in the sense that it's instead of like an hour 12, it'll be like 50 minutes. That is,
really?
Yeah, that is
Your
mini.
level,
That's
your
what
minis.
you're hoping for?
Your kind of
minis,
minis.
yes.
So okay, maybe
I
they'll
thought,
be.
I thought they were going to be 20.
You know what? Maybe they'll be even
It'll
shorter.
be 50. We're going to have to figure out what they're going to
What's
be.
too short for it no longer
We're
being
skipping-
comfortable?
It's going to be 0 next week. That's all that matters right
Yeah.
now. Then you have to see how long they're going to be for the summer.
And also remember, Good Mythical Summer is happening on on the GMM channel, and Good Mythical Weekend is going to continue throughout the summer, every
Which
Saturday.
is on every Saturday. Yes, on the Good GMM channel.
So enjoy that.
Bye-bye.
I've been watching Good Mythical Morning while studying for the past 3 weeks, probably every night. And now, every time I hear just a generic white guy talking, I think it's Rhett. Like, we were watching Shrek, me and my girlfriend, and I could hear Rhett in like all of the white guy voices.